What pitcher struck out the most batters in their major league debut?
Folks, welcome to the Baseball Brewhaha. It's your spot for obscure baseball trivia. Today we're talking strikeouts in debuts. We're talking about pitching debuts, of course. I'm Aaron. That's my identical twin brother, Adam. We're here enjoying a cup of coffee. We're having trivia for breakfast. We're putting our baseball knowledge to the test. So, Adam, what do we got?
This question is inspired by the debut of Tim Herron, who's a relief pitcher who struck out the first four batters he faced in his major league debut, which was the most consecutive since the mound was moved to its current distance from home plate, which is 60 feet 6 inches. We were wondering, well, if that's the most consecutive in a debut, what's the most total in a debut? So here we go.
And just to add a little bit of extra color to that history, just for in case you're wondering, well, when was it that the mound got moved to 60 feet 6 inches? Because it got lowered, some 60 years ago. Let's be clear. They got moved to its current distance in 1893. So it's been a minute since we've had this many strikeouts in a debut.
Yeah. Yeah, this was not just around the corner here. So here we go. Here's our question. Who had the most total strikeouts in their major league debut? So we have Cliff Melton, Freddy Peralta, J.R. Richard, Karl Spooner, or Steven Strasburg.
This is a list. I've heard of three of these guys. I saw Cliff Melton. I saw this is quite a melting pot of names we got to go.
It sure is.
So I'm gonna go Strasburg. I watched his debut and it was electric, and he struck out a ton of guys. So I don't know if it was the record or not, but I know he struck out a lot of dudes, and it was one of the most electric debuts I've ever seen on TV. That was on TV, not at the stadium. So I'm gonna go Strasburg here.
Yeah, I went Strasburg as well on this one. Very hyped debut against the Pirates in 2010. Lots of strikeouts. And so I went Strasburg as well. And let's see how we did. Oftentimes when we have the same guess, it doesn't go our way. So
we got a 20% chance. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Okay. And our result is we are incorrect.
Man,
we actually had a 2 in 5 chance here, and we still missed it. J.R. Richard and Karl Spooner tied for the most with 15 in their major debut. Strasburg was a very close second with 14. Melton and Peralta each had 13.
Wow. J.R. Richard. So he's modern-ish. Yes?
So this was in 1971.
Not the same guy.
Nope, there's a Chris Richard who's more recent. J.R. Richard, 1971 against the New York Giants. Okay. No, sorry, San Francisco Giants. I'm confused because Karl Spooner's 15 in his debut was against the New York Giants.
Okay, so Giants, but different locales.
Exactly. Spooner, so interesting little tidbit here. Both Richard and Spooner faced Willie Mays in their debuts. Richard struck out Willie Mays 3 times. Spooner did not strike out Mays, but Mays was much younger and a much better player at that point in his career. There was like 15 years in between these performances.
I mean, but that's pretty incredible to strike out 15 and you didn't get Mays even once.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and here's a little quirky tidbit for those games as well. Both Richard and Spooner struck a guy out 3 times who did not start the game.
Okay.
And Richard, the guy he struck out 3 times who didn't enter the game till the 5th.
how this is just getting quirkier by the minute.
Yeah. Spooner's
Did he strike out 15 and give up 12 earned runs? What's
uh, no, he gave up 2 earned runs. They won 5-3. But there were a few walks, few hits, Spooner. So Richard threw a complete game, got the win 5-3. Spooner threw a shutout. They won 3-0. The guy that he struck out 3 times, who didn't start, he came in the second, so he played basically a full game.
Okay. Which
Yeah.
which begs another question of why we got a sub in the second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I was trying to look it up a little bit, but I wasn't that invested in that.
Yeah, I'm thinking what, cramps? We're thinking somebody broke a leg sliding into second.
Yeah, who knows?
This
Yeah,
is the somebody got drilled by the Chase Utley rule before the Chase Utley rule was a thing,
mhm.
or the Buster Posey rule before that was a thing.
Yeah,
The options are limitless.
yeah. And a little note here on the futility of the Giants that day against J.R. Richard is Richard's game was the second game of a doubleheader. In the first game, they also lost. They were shut out and struck out 11 times. So they had themselves a day,
26.
lost twice, and struck out 26 times.
Yeah. Well, so that's a funny stat. You're talking about that many strikeouts in a game is a lot of strikeouts. Very early in the season, might even been the first game of the season, the Rockies did something amazing as a team, which was collect 17 hits and strike out 17 times.
Oh, goodness.
They won the game. Oh,
Well,
man.
strikeouts are a more frequent occurrence these days, that's for sure.
Indeed.
But, Strasburg, so his game was interesting in that, so he struck out 14 against the Pirates. He struck out every person who batted in the game at least once.
Yeah.
Including pinch hitters. And he only faced 24 batters. So he struck out 14 of the 24 he faced. For comparison, Richard struck out 15, but faced 38 batters in the game. So, Strasburg had himself quite a game. He only pitched 7 innings. But, so he got 14 and 7 innings. Spooner and Richard 9-inning games with 15.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and he had the same rubber arm. I think Richard threw something like 143 pitches in his game as well.
Yeah. I just remember that Strasburg game, and that was one of the best pitching performances I have ever seen. I mean, the guy. And this was a little bit on the front end of guys throwing 100. So now it's like every team's got a couple guys that throw 100.
Yeah.
You didn't have, you have a couple guys, starting pitchers who might be, mid to upper 90s, but you didn't have a starting pitcher throwing 100. Like it just wasn't a thing. And he had some nasty breaking pitches. It was just one of the most dominant pitching performances I've ever seen. Watching a game. So, I haven't seen that many, let's be fair here, but that was but that was electric. So,
yeah. Well, we've been talking a lot about awesome major league debuts. We've got a couple of major league debut duds as well.
Debut duds, indeed. So, I was looking at, there's one, you can look it up. You can go, there's a TV series, SB Nation. Their YouTube channel is much more popular than ours, so go check them out. But they did a series on the worst, and so they had the worst major league pitching debut. And there's probably a few guys who go in this category, but Mike Myers, St. Louis Cardinals, 2016, pitched against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN. So family flew in, big time deal. Mike Myers had a rough day. Loaded the bases, the first 3 batters, and then batter number 4, he gave up a nice little grand slam. Went down 4-0. Mike Myers hung in there, went 1 1/3, 8 hits, 9 runs, all earned, 2 walks, 1 strikeout for a nifty. If you can do the calculation in your head real quick, like his ERA was 60.75 on the day. It's a rough outing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and also going back, so I was looking at most, we're looking at most strikeouts in their debut. I was like, oh, wonder who had a rough debut and had the most walks in their debut.
Yeah.
We're going back to 1915 with good old Bruno Haas of the Philadelphia A's.
Yeah.
Walked an amazing 16 batters
What?
in his debut through a complete game, got the loss. They lost 15-7.
Okay.
It was his so he was 0-1 after that game. He finished his career 0-1, so no other decisions, but his career, the rest of his season went that way. He didn't last long, ended up pitching in like 6 games. For his career, finished with 28 walks in 14 innings. Although he did finish in the top 10 in one pitching category.
Yes.
Despite only making 6 appearances. That category was wild pitches.
Oh man, is that shocking when you walk? I mean, that's literally so in today's game. So we talk about really pitchers. You know? Okay. So here's the thing. We talk about relief pitchers and some that are really good. So like Mariners, Matt Brash, and you go, this guy has electric stuff. Why is he not a starting pitcher? The reason why he's not a starting pitcher is because he walks too many guys. So he's like 4 to 5 walks per 9 innings. And you look at that and you're just like, whew, that's bad. That's really bad. That guy had a walks per 9 of 28.
Yeah.
No, is that right?
No.
No, 18.
He had twice 18. As many. Yeah. 18 walks per 9. Yeah.
18 walks per 9. Okay, so if you complain about your relievers walking 4 to 5 per 9, I want you to remember, what's his name? Haas?
Bruno Haas.
Bruno Haas. Just be thankful he's not walking 18 per 9.
That's right.
Oh man, the magical numbers of baseball. How many? So did it say how many wild pitches, or just
6? 6 wild pitches.
6 wild pitches in 6 outings,
Yep.
and that's like, I mean that reminds me of Mark Wohlers, Rick Ankiel, guys like that who they just lost the feel and that was it. But
yeah, well, Bruno never had the feel.
I'm trying to figure out what I mean. Were they out of pitching options? I mean,
Hey.
you let that guy throw a complete game? Like, I don't know, man. There's got to be more to that story if we find it somewhere. So, or hey, folks, comment below. If you know something about this story, why was a guy who walked 16 guys able to throw a complete game? Why did the manager leave him in? So, folks, subscribe, join us, put your questions in, what you want to hear us put some trivia together about. We've had a great time today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Till then, see ya.